Hi, I'm Jan Miles, one of the two captains of the Pride of Baltimore II, and I'm standing here on the aft deck of this ship I've sailed since she was launched in 1988. You may look at my surroundings here and think that something's very wrong, but in fact you're seeing the Pride in her winter maintenance phase. Maintenance is a vital part of keeping this beautiful wood vessel going year after year, and our winters are devoted to it. The War of 1812 started 200 years ago in June, so its bicentennial year is a big one for us because the Pride is a replica of the Baltimore privateers that played an important role in that war for the young United States. So when spring comes, we'll be out there in the midst of various bicentennial celebrations showing people how ships like this contributed to the war effort 200 years ago. We've made this video to show you some of what we did in 2011 and how we're preparing for the 1812 bicentennial.
The Pride logged about 9,000 miles in 2011, and you can see from this map that most of that was our voyage to the Great Lakes as part of a tall ship festival with other vessels. We left Baltimore at the end of May and went north along the Atlantic coast up to Nova Scotia. After a long leg up through the St. Lawrence, we finally got into the Great Lakes, arriving in Buffalo at the end of June. From there, we headed west through the chain of lakes with a few stops to Duluth, Minnesota by mid-July. We headed back from there, this time detouring into Lake Michigan and Chicago, but with different stops we basically retraced our steps back to the Chesapeake and made it to Washington, D.C. by late October. By early November we were back in Baltimore. Both the ocean and the lakes dealt us their usual mix of good and bad weather, but with our hard-working crew the Pride took it all in stride. To give you an idea of what 2011 was like on board, we've got some video clips gathered along the way. Most people who come aboard the Pride when we're in port never get to experience her sailing ability, but this is a boat that really sails beautifully. That sailing performance was why Baltimore schooners were successful privateers 200 years ago, and why sailing our replica ship is a unique experience. Our streamlined hull means we can't carry a lot of passengers or freight or heavy guns, but privateers needed to outsail British Navy ships, and the hull design was critical. Of course, the big fore and aft schooner rig gives us great performance upwind, something square rig vessels couldn't match. Those big sails are not easy to handle, and true to our history, we haven't fitted Pride out with modern gear like winches or roller furling. So hauling up the mainsail takes most of the crew pulling hard for about 10 minutes. And tacking requires a coordinated readjustment of all the sails, with critical timing for a successful maneuver. Those big sails require strong forces on their control lines to give them an efficient shape. But when it's all working right, you can really feel that power moving the ship through the water, just like those privateers 200 years ago. Well, there is a lot of hard work involved. In fact, most of the time, sailing the Pride is not all that stressful. The officers you see here have the critical responsibility of plotting a safe and efficient course to our destination, and they're the ones who coordinate all the team effort it takes to sail a ship like this. When those big sails aren't in use, they have to be furled and lashed so the wind doesn't inflate them, jobs we do in the traditional way. For hundreds of years, one mark of a real sailor was his ability to climb up into the rigging to work the sails. The Pride's masts tower over 100 feet above the water, and our crew goes up to furl and unfurl our topsails regularly. The wind is stronger up there and the boat's motion is amplified, so these jobs take some getting used to. But if those sails were to get loose in a strong breeze, we could easily lose control of the boat, so proper furling is a critical skill. This job isn't for everyone, of course, but we do have safety harnesses, which wasn't the case in the good old days. Our mission involves coming into port regularly, often for weekend festivals in cities and towns with active waterfronts. This gives us a chance to restock our supplies and get a bit of shore leave before we're off again on the next leg of our journey.
I'm Jamie Trost, one of the captains of Pride of Baltimore II. Previously in the video you met Captain Miles, and he and I share command of Pride II roughly 2 months on, 2 months off through the course of the sailing season. In this video, we've shown you a lot about what it's like to live and to work aboard Pride of Baltimore 2, but we haven't even begun to show you the amount of maintenance Pride of Baltimore 2 requires in a typical year. Like her ancestors, those Baltimore privateers from 200 years ago, Pride 2 is made of wood. The hull, the planking, the mast, even the deck furniture are all wooden. That equates to quite a bit of maintenance for the crew during the course of the season. But it's not just the wood that needs maintenance through the course of the season or the off-season. The sails, the rigging, even the mechanical systems, all are subject to the wear and tear of our rigorous schedule and the environment that we work in. In the course of a typical season, we probably spend about 10% of the time, both underway and at the dock, doing maintenance on the vessel to keep her at her top performance and looking her best. In the scenes that follow, you'll see firsthand some of the things that are required to keep Pride of Baltimore 2 looking and sailing the way we've come to know her.
We've got lots of great looking varnished surfaces on the Pride, but most people don't realize how much upkeep is required. Other painted surfaces also suffer from sun exposure, and on a big ship we've got lots of vulnerable areas, some of which are not so easy to access. These chores are done on maintenance days when our schedule allows. The bosun is responsible for the miles of rope and wire rigging that are subject to heavy stress, and we're always aware that its failure can be catastrophic. The Pride's 2011 sailing season had its usual Chesapeake finale, as seen here as we saluted Alexandria, Virginia during one of our relaxed fall day sails. We got back to Baltimore in early November at the end of the sailing season. So here we are, tied up to our pier in the Canton section of the harbor, starting our winter maintenance phase. All of our rigging comes down and everything movable comes out of the interior, so we can access all the surfaces down below. All those pieces get inspected and serviced. The spars are stored on the pier next to the boat, and we erect tents over them so we can varnish them during the winter. After stripping the boat pretty clean, we erect a shrink-wrap canopy over the deck so we can do the maintenance on the boat in spite of snow and cold. A wooden frame supports the plastic shrink wrap, which is tightened with a heat gun. It's a great technology not available to those Baltimore privateers 200 years ago, but it's really required for us to do our winter maintenance work. It gives the Pride a whole new cocoon-like appearance. Once our plastic shelters are set up, the real maintenance starts, and you're seeing some of that work here. This winter we've invited volunteers to join our regular winter crew for many of these jobs, and you're seeing some of them in these clips. Some of our volunteers have experience with boat maintenance, but most come to learn about what we're doing. We assign volunteers to work with one of our professional crew, and that additional labor has helped us a lot. Because we've got a lot of beautiful wood surfaces on the Pride, varnishing is one of our biggest jobs. Here you see our spar tent, where all our wood spars get at least 3 coats of varnish, with careful sanding between coats. This winter we're doing a major refinish of our deck for the first time in over 20 years. You're seeing here the old pitch being removed, after which we're sanding the whole thing and treating it with preservative. So there you have a brief glimpse of our 2011 activities, and as I speak in the winter of 2012, we're very much involved in the maintenance activities shown in those last clips. We're at our winter pier in the Canton section of Baltimore, and we'd love to have your help. Our crew is here working Tuesday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturdays from 8:30 to 4:30. We'll be at these jobs until April, so if you've got a few hours or a few days to help out, it would be great. Give us a call or email and we can set it up. In any case, we're hoping you'll get a chance to see us in 2012 and celebrate those heroic privateers of 200 years ago.